looking for a tasty way to support your family's immune system all year long, you're in the right place. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I make my delicious hot chocolate that is very immune boosting, and kiddos love it. I'm Erin Holt. I'm a functional nutritionist of Erin Holt Health. And if you like ideas like this, I'm also a mom. So if you like mom hacks, if you like nutrition tidbits, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Click the bell so you get notified every time I release something kind of cool and jazzy like this. All right, so my hot chocolate. Here's the deal. I have a 4.5-year-old and she was getting sick all the time. One cold after another after another. She's in pre-K. Every time she'd come home, she'd have the sniffles. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't think it's normal for a kid to be sick from September till May. And her pediatrician kept writing me off, just being like, yeah, it's normal, it's normal, it's normal. I finally took her to my naturopath, who's also an herbalist, and asked her for ways that I could not just soothe her symptoms, but actually prevent her from getting sick all the time. So support her immune system. Now, a lot of the things she was doing, or she said I was already doing, but one great idea she had was to introduce a few immune regulating herbs, one of which is astragalus root. Now, I love astragalus root. This is the dried powder. It's a root, and you can put it into stews and soups, and it's an awesome thing to do all year long, but especially in the winter time. Interesting tidbit about astragalus is it also can be preventative for Lyme disease. So I really like to take this in during the fall when we live in the woods, so we're exposed to the woods and to ticks all the time. We also have a dog. So another little pro tip, you can take this at the first sign of a tick bite, really high doses, and you can just take it preventatively, prophylactically all year long. This is one herb that you can take all the time. So the downside was like, how am I gonna get this into my kid? Because it has a pretty distinct taste. It's a little bit of a smoky flavor, but it definitely doesn't taste like a freaking lollipop. So I had a sort of a light bulb moment. I was making hot chocolate one day and I figured I could whisk this in, and it worked like a dream. So I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did. Other ingredients that I'm using, since I'm doing this to support her immune system and mine and my husband's, I also added reishi powder. Reishi is a mushroom, it's a medicinal mushroom, and when it's ground down into this powder, you can slip it into smoothies and teas, soups, stews, also hot chocolate. You can go pretty high with the dose on this. The taste is kind of earthy. It's not too in your face. It's not very bitter. It's not very astringent. It blends really well with chocolate. So I use about half of a teaspoon per hot chocolate mug that I do, but you could really ramp up that dose to taste tolerance. You can go pretty high with this. For the astragalus, I use a quarter teaspoon, and that was the dose that my naturopath recommended for my kiddo, a quarter teaspoon every single day. All right, so that's that. For the milk, for the base, you can use any type of almond milk, coconut milk. Today I'm gonna use Brazil nut milk that I just made up. So I took a cup of Brazil nuts, I soaked them overnight, I drained off that water, and I blended it with 4 cups of water and a date to make it a little sweet, and some vanilla extract because I like mine with a little flavor. So I use 1 cup of this for the liquid. The other part of the liquid is another little sneaky mom tip that I do. I blend this organic roasted dandelion root tea. Now this is a bitter. It's really great for your liver. We really all need to be supporting our liver health day in and day out. So I get my kid to drink this, and it's awesome. She thinks she's drinking coffee. It's great. It does look like coffee when it's brewed. I don't know if you can just pour it out. It's dark. Let's just suffice it to say it's dark. So what I do is I fill a mug with half a cup of water. All right, I pour half a cup of boiling water into the mug with a tea bag and brew this really strong. I let it sit covered for 5 to 10 minutes. And then I transfer that into a saucepan, okay? And then I'm also gonna throw in a cup of the Brazil nut milk that I was talking about. That's gonna go into the saucepan as well, all right? Plus the herbs that I was talking about. So again, I use half a teaspoon of the reishi and a 1/4 teaspoon of the astragalus. Now, where to buy these? I will post links where you can get these if you're shopping on the interwebs. Locally, you can go to a health food store. If you have any place that sells bulk herbs and spices, you'll probably be able to find those powders there. All right, then for the chocolate, I always use raw cacao powder, and I do 2 tablespoons of this. I love raw cacao. It is chock full of minerals like magnesium. It has some iron in it, some potassium, just things. I find it really hard to get magnesium into our day-to-day diet, so I like to pack it in when I can. I will say, if you're not using homemade nut milk, that's totally fine. I like Brazil nuts because they do contain selenium. Selenium is an antioxidant. It's good for all of us. But if you want to do the store-bought stuff, I like Califia Farms. It's a pretty good, decent brand as well in terms of ingredients. And if you don't want to use the Dandelion Root Tea, just use water or use extra milk, no big deal. It's a 1.5 cups of liquid when it's all said and done. My other little sneaky thing is I put in some grass-fed ghee. Here's why I do grass-fed ghee. It makes it super creamy, so it feels like a dessert. It really feels like a rich hot chocolate, but also grass-fed ghee contains fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, K, K2, which are all very immune regulating. We especially need vitamin A, we need vitamin D, we need those fat-soluble vitamins to help support our immune system. Most of us aren't getting them enough in our diet. So it has to be grass-fed to get those benefits. Listen, this is Fourth and Heart. I love this brand. Another brand that I like is Goddess Ghee, which is based in Asheville, North Carolina. I also like Tin Star Food Ghee. I always buy certified casein and lactose free because I'm dairy free, and I do really well with that. Use a tablespoon of this. You can use less if you don't want it as creamy and as rich and as thick, but I use a full tablespoon. If you're super dairy intolerant, another great option is to use coconut butter. You can use the same amount of coconut butter. Finally, we want to sweeten it up, okay? It can be a little bit hard to get the bitters into your kiddos and get those herbs into your kiddos without adding a dose of sweet. So for this, I use raw local honey. I use about a tablespoon. Here's how I think of the sugar. I think about it in context of the overall diet. My kid doesn't get a lot of sugar, so I'm not really worried about a tablespoon of honey. I'm really not. You make your own decision there. Another great option is maple syrup. If you can access organic local maple syrup, that has some redeeming qualities, as does honey. If you're totally sugar-free, you could also use a few drops of organic stevia extract. So those are some things to think about. All right, so everything's in the pot. I'm gonna transfer it over to the stove and I'm gonna whisk it on up. Now from there, you can totally be done. Once it's all warm and whisked up, you can transfer it into a mug. If you wanna get a little extra fancy, this is what I do. I then transfer it into a blender. So this is a Vitamix. It's very stained by coffee because I use it for my coffee every single day. And blend it up so it gets really frothy and it seems just like a totally additional treat. And you're gonna love this, and your family's gonna love this, and if you've got little kiddos, they're gonna love this, and it's a safe and supportive way to support your family's immune system. Again, if you like this video, if you want more ideas for your fam, click the bell, subscribe, do the damn thing. I will catch up with you guys later. Thanks for watching.